Okay, so this is lesson 3 for Introduction to MICE. The title for this lesson is Designing the Event Experience with the following objectives. Identify considerations in venue selection, room and furniture arrangement, and technical production. Describe the wow and wheel factors in events. And explain the theory of design thinking. So, ang gi-upload na ko nga module na ay pre-test pero manamantaan na, so you just ignore that. Dili na need mag-answer. You proceed directly into reading the learning content. So this is a bit long. I'll try to minimize the discussion aron dili kay taas ang video. So it's always a challenge for MICE professionals or event organizers to produce an event that has the just the right amount of design, just the right amount of wow factors, just the right total package nga kanang masatisfy, and it will leave a lasting positive impression to the guests, the visitors, the clients nga ma-remember gid siya. It's a very that the event that you have organized is very memorable and very has delivered quality satisfaction to your clients. And this can be achieved through planning of the event design, as well as the seamless implementation of all the plan that you have created. So this is in this chapter, we will learn about the different techniques that or the different strategies or approaches that we can do to achieve the design, the right event design for a specific event. So we have here a design defined as the method of envisioning the result and systematically executing the vision. So here is the three phases of design thinking. First, you have to understand what the event will be all about, and then uh, you create So, nasya din ang description sa three phases. The first phase, You understand the event objectives, the task, as well as the challenges that are expected to be accomplished and solved. As well, after understanding, you will now create a plan. So, the process of creating a plan, from generating ideas and solutions to solving the challenges or accomplishing the tasks that were identified. And then finally, implementing. So after understanding the specific objectives or the specific expectations needed, and then creating a plan, implement na nato atong plan. Implementing the plan and collaborating with internal and external groups to engineer the event experience and to deliver the message that will fulfill the event objectives. So sa implementing, dinha na nato i-turn ang atong plans into actual actions. So here we have the design thinking process diagram. This is from the this diagram was or is established by or adapted from the Stanford Design School. So naatay empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and assess. So this thinking process diagram, it will be helpful in establishing or in planning our event design. So in empathize, syempre we reach out to the client man una. So we empathize with them. We relate to them. We step into their shoes aron makasabot ta or makagets ta unsay gusto nila mahitabo sa event. So this can be done by conducting interviews, uncovering emotions from the clients, and seeking out their stories or the main reason why they want to conduct this event. For example, wedding. So you get in touch with the groom and the bride. What do they want? You put yourselves in their shoes. Ug imuha ning kasal nga sa imong kuan. What are the most important things? Mga ingon ana. After empathizing with them, we define, uh, reframe and create human-centric problem statements, identify meaningful surprises and tensions, and infer insights. So from now that we can relate to them, we define or we ask them what are the specific things that they want to happen for that specific event, and then you proceed to ideate or form the different ideas in order to make those katong mga gi-imagine nila nga mahitabo dyan in actual or reality. So you brainstorm your ideas, you build on others' ideas, you benchmark from previous events, and then you suspend judgment. Dili ka mag-una-una og judge. Dili ta judger during the pita. And then, prototype. So, in prototype, you create mock-ups, storyboards, scripts, program flows, proposed budgets. Himuon nimo ang mga proposal nimo nga like maghimo kag proposed venues, you seek for approval from the client, proposed menu, proposed nga mga tanang tanang tangible things nga pwede nila i-approve, you make it into a prototype or samples, and then you test those prototypes with the customers if they like it, and if they don't like it, you embrace failure. Finally, you assess, so or you get their feedback. So these are where you evaluate the work that you have created, if there are changes to be made, and then you accept the you accept the feedback wholeheartedly, and then you go back to step one, wherein you understand them in order for you to create or to produce the correct product to satisfy the needs that they are presenting to you. So mo na siya. Design thinking is defined or is necessary in designing the event experience. So it is a discipline that lets a designer employ his or her sensibilities and methods. This was according to Brown. So it has the following advantages if you're going to employ design thinking when organizing an event. So the advantages are as follows. So the event scalability, increased foot traffic barring any fortuitous event, presence of a sense of ownership among different stakeholders, lower cost leads to increased value, stakeholders' needs are carefully analyzed, cost center is converted to profit center, and saying no to event distractions becomes easy to do. So if you have the proper planning and if you have the process wherein you stick to it, like the design thinking process, then mas organized, less hassle, and you can meet the deadlines before the actual deadlines. So I've mentioned earlier about the wow and VO factors, so we will now differentiate both. So the wow factors, these are the things that make your events unforgettable. These are the things that allows the client or the guests or the participants of your event to always remember you or the specific event that you hosted. So, how do you make or uh, how do you look for this wow factor? So here are some examples. It could be the right venue, the right suppliers, the right talents and performers, the right colors, the right decors, the right food, the right collaterals, the right technical production. So, like in any previous events that you have attended, whether it's a conference, it's a meeting, it's a 3-day event like our HRM days bakaron, it's a wedding, it's a birthday, a christening, a funeral. So what are the things that were unforgettable? So those were the wow factors of those events. So wow factors is represented by the following or is defined accordingly. So it could be worldwide trends, and your objective should be smart. It aims to win your audience. Your focus is on achieving your set objectives. You align your program with the expectation of your guests and your clients. Creativity is always involved. There are touch points, and you think or you produce out of the box takeaways, not the common nga mga souvenir items. You recall on previous events, what are the negative feedbacks, the things that you need to improve on, and you have to make sure that the five senses of your clients, your guests, your participants are all satisfied. Satisfied ilang mga makita, ilang mata, ilang madunggan, ilahang matilawan, ilang mahikap, ilang masimhutan. So the five senses are all satisfied. If you achieve all of those, then you have that wow factor in your event. In In achieving the wow factor, it involves a lot of money, or it requires a budget, a big budget. So if lisod siya, if your client is on a budget, instead of aiming for producing or providing a wow factor, you can choose to produce WIW factors, or WIW. WIW stands for what's it worth factors. So design elements that may not break the budget but have meaning and value relevant to the event. So it could be, instead of providing nga mga mahalon nga souvenir items, like for example flash drives, or unsa in a seminar, you can opt uh, to contact local mga artists nga mga handicrafts na lang imuhang ikuan, kay mas barato siya, instead of those techie nga mga products nga pwede nimo ihatag sa imuhang guest, or you can contact local plantitos and plantitas, mamalit ka og gagmay nga mga kuan, and then you give that as a takeaway sa mga ingon ana siya. They are still design elements that will impress your clients and your guests, but they are mas tipid-tipid siya compared sa wow factor. So wow factors all out yun, walay the budget, sky is the limit na siya. Pero sa WIO, if a picky ang budget, you look for still nga kanang of quality nga mga design elements nga maka-impress ra gihapon sa inyong guests. So in designing, syempre appeal na siya ang you're going to be discussing. In designing the event, we're going to discuss the venue, the seating plan, the arrangements of the chairs, the tables, the furnitures. We're also going to discuss decors, furnishings, technical requirements, ang sound system, ang lights, and as well as the event program and its flow. Di ba mo man ay mga kinahanglan nga to i-factor in when organizing an event, as well as the menu. Um, there are protocols to follow for certain ceremonies, and travel arrangements of your participants, as well as the staff that you are going to need in the implementation. So magsugod ta sa venue. So depending on the desired outcome of the event, a selected venue can leave a lasting impression on the guest. Kaya mo man ay una nila makita upon their arrival. Oftentimes, the ambience of the venue and the impeccable service provided to the participants have a significant impact on guests. So, here are some considerations that we need to remember when selecting a venue. So, a venue must be, syempre, available siya, the first consideration. It has to be available on that specific date na gusto ni client. Kaya dili siya available or dili siya accessible, then how will the event happen? The next consideration is location. Dool ra ba siya? Pwede ba siya adtuon? Wala ba? Dili ba siya prone to landslide, flooding, basin og anang specific date nagbagyo, then dili maadto. So mo na siya yung mga one consideration also. Next is space. How large is the venue? Can it cater to the desired number of guests nga gusto i-invite sa inyong client? The rates, are they justifiable? Igo ba sa budget? The facilities, nindot ba ang CR? Naabay makatulgan in cases wherein accommodation is needed? Are the lights, the sounds included? Mga yun, ana. Personnel also is a factor or a consideration. This is your staff ni siya nga involved in organizing the event, or are there nanabay personnel daan, like for example when you rent a function hall, provided na ba ang F&B team to do the food service, or do you need to hire others to do the food service kay ang hall ra gyud ang ilang ginaparent? You also need to consider industry feedback from previous nga mga ninggamit ana nga venue. Is it positive, negative, na ba yung mga reklamo, are there suggestions when you use that specific venue? And security also. Security of your guest is highly considered when choosing a venue. For example, in the pandemic case, are they following IATF nga mga protocols, or in 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 the previous setting, in the normal setup, are there also ba dito ang kanang hold up, tulis snatch touch, na by security guard? Are they protected from outside forces nga na ay that will bring harm to them? Mayon ana. And then venue policies. You also have to take note of venue policies kay basin og dili di ay pwede nga kanang dili pwede magpa-fireworks dito, then nagpa-fireworks mo, mga ingon ana nga policies. Or Muslim dahil tag-iya sa venue and then nagdala mong lechon, dili di pwede. So, your venues could be or could range from the following types. Pwede siya in a convention center, a conference center, hotels, university facilities like school, university gymnasiums, or mga AVRs, and then resort properties, like kanang sa beach ba karon, or it's a private resort, na function room dito, function hall, or by the beach gihapon ana. And then cruise lines, you can organize weddings in ships, pwede na siya. And other attractions, it could also be in a museum for specific exhibits of displays, mga zoos, parks, art galleries, restaurants, and theaters. So, pwede na siya. Any of the following could be considered as your venue. So, now that you've chosen a venue, you need to prepare uh, your furnitures, your stages, how do you set up, how do you lay out um, your floor. So, in arranging this, in planning the setup and room layout of any event, the organizer must establish the functional requirements based on the event goals and objectives. Always consider the expectations of the attendees, their experience, and the activities to be done for the event. So, these are the different kinds of room setups. So, we have here for the first one, we have presenter focused setup. So this is common in conferences or kanang conventions wherein a speaker is invited to talk about a certain relatable or significant topic. So you could do theater style if daghan ang participant, and then the stage is up front and then the seats are arranged. So marni siya ka ng graduation, pwedeng ingon ani, or large conferences, pwedeng ingon ani, or church gatherings, ingon ani. You could also use the classroom wherein tables, murag gyapon siya theater, but tables are included. This could be done in seminars wherein a workshop is involved, or kanang there are various speakers and then participants need to take note of the things that the speakers are talking about. You can also rearrange the classroom into chevron, inyong himuon o V type. This is also called as herringbone style. So, long rectangular tables are arranged with chairs facing inward. So, baligi diagonal ra gud siya from classroom yung siyang chevron. Then we also have the semicircle seating, desk and chairs facing the front of the room in a semicircle shape. So, this is useful if the facilitator likes to move. Nga dili lang siya gusto nga magpundo siya sa stage. He or she wants to move around, so the semicircle is an appropriate um, seating setup. Next, we have kato siya focus to sa speaker, no? Kani partially interactive setup wherein dili necessarily nga ang attention nakafocus ra tanan sa speaker. So we have the present half rounds, so round tables, pero dili siya puno. The front part is vacant so that everyone in the seated in the table can see the presenter or the presenter. Then we also have the U shape with tables, and then U shape without tables. Pwede na siya. Square table set up in an open-ended configuration with chairs set on the outer side of the table. So, panangitan na diri mong entrance. So, una siya naka-U. And then, diri ang stage na din ang speaker. followed by the horseshoe. So, natay horseshoe nga walay table na pwede po ni siya ngan og table. And then pods. So, sa pods, mura siya og kanang restaurant setup. But then, naa siya'y, sa tawag ani? Na ay table or na stage din where the speaker will talk. For the highly interactive setup, we have oval tables. So meaning this is usually used by kanang a small group of people during meetings. So pwede siya ingon ani. Then we also have the octagon style. This setup encourages attendees to think creatively in a more relaxed ambience kay dili kay sila ingon anak kadugol. So pwede sila mag-chill silang bangko. Less fixtures are needed. Sitting options could be ottomans, floor pillows, benches, pwede na siya yun, or video game chairs. So, money siya sa octagon. Tapos, we also have the hollow square style. So, sa hollow square style, tables and chairs are set up facing each other with no open end. So, balik close siya. Naka-arrange ang table and then the chairs are arranged all around the table in a square. Then we also have the boardroom. So it's a very long table that includes seats on all sides of the table. So these are from the term boardroom. So this is used mostly on meetings. Now, when we are going to employ or we're going to be planning on the decors and furnishings, here are some essential considerations when selecting our decors and furnishings. Decors must depend on the available space. Dili ta magbutang og decorations or mga fixtures, furnitures nga dagko kayo nga malesen na nun ang space. Dili na makalihok ato ang participants or atong guests. We should also consider ceiling height and structure. Dili ba masungko sa atop? Dili ba kaya ra ba isulod ng mga tower, makasupport ba ang building sa kabugat, mga yun ana. The existing environment, nanabay stage daan, nanabay sound system, lightings, unsa nga mga improvements na lang ang atong idugang. Room access, are there enough entrances and exits? The available time to create such decorations and furnishings, dili ba ka magahol sa oras? The walls, are they movable or not? Pwede ba papilitan or dili? Rigging points, nabay matauran og mga overhead lights, chandeliers, mga ipang sablay-sablay ninyo nga mga decorations, as well as the power access or the electricity access, and decor maintenance. If you're going to set up a bit early, dili ba maguba ang inyong decoration, mga ingon ana. So those are the things you need to consider. Then we also have technical requirements. So technical production is a mix of knowledge and creativity. Technical know-how on lighting, sound, video, live feeds, visual equipment, and special effects are needed to mount successful events. So these are basically mo ni siya diri mag-rely ang success atong events or sa program. You have to have the good sound system, lighting, video presentations or projectors, makaron visual equipment para added wow factor to your event. So here is a sample composition on an event technical production team. So if you're organizing a big event, dapat na kaani nga technical production team. Not necessarily kani sila tanan nga people or personnel, but this is just an example. So you need to have a stage manager as well as a backstage personnel. You also need suppliers, excuse me, production manager or coordinator, an event director, script writers for your programs, as well as a floor manager who will manage the flow of the program on the actual event. So mo na siya ang mga dapat nato nga timan-an, especially in big events. An organizer may hire if you do not want to create such or gamay ra kag staff, you can hire or contract a staging contractor wherein they will handle all the technical requirements of big events. So they could be responsible for designing the program, doing program script, looking for hosts, providing the sound equipment, lighting equipment, projection equipment, as well as the stage direction and backstage management. You just have to require them to submit their service contract listing the following so that dili pud ka magoyo or dili ka ma-scam nila nga mahal imong bayad and then dili na tarungon. So naka-indicate dapat sa contract nga included ang lighting setup and equipment as well as the sound system and projection system, appeal ang electrical equipment as well as backup in case of power outage, and the list of the number of technical and backstage crew as well as the sector heads kay aron kabalo ka kinsa imong i-coordinate during the running or the duration of the program kay basin og naay mapalpak so nakay makasab-an ba ron or nakay mapangutan-an nganong naingon adto as well as their schedule kung kanus-a sila mag-set up and kanus-a sila moabot sa venue. So mo na siya in the technical department. So included na sa venue considerations also ang elements to consider sa technical production. So the walls soundproof or kinahanglan ba og adjustments or kinahanglan og mga mounts aron maisa ang speakers. The room capacity, are the space available, um, kaya ba mo accommodate sa tanang projectors, LED screens, ceiling heights dili ba short inig magbutang og LED, availability of power kay basin og na schedule nga brownout didto then may epic fail inyong program, room lighting and control sa sa inyong lights nga i-employ kay basin og ma-epic fail bis dramatic inyong effect then gitkit na nun kayo mo dito. Are there loading docks wherein hidden from the actual venue nga pwede dito magdiskarga og magkarga og mga gamit as well as the in-house sound system present na ba siya or kinahanglan ba nga ang technical production team ang mo-provide tanan. So, after considering those, you will now proceed to creating the event program. So, the event program will depend on the type of the event. Pwede siyang formal or informal, different activities happening simultaneously or sequentially such as educational sessions, entertainment, food and beverage functions, exhibitions, sponsor programs, and games. The program flow, this is the program schedule, designed to achieve the purpose of the event. It contains the timing of each element and activity, and it should be part of the on-site production documents. It also includes the scripts of the MCs and the event agenda. So sa program flow kato ni siyang schedule of the events like 7 to 8 a.m. registration, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. conference proper or na nakabutang ditong name sa speaker and then from 10 to 12 na po lahi na po nga speaker, 12 to 1 lunch break. Maingan ana, mo na siya program flow. Now, after creating such program flow, if you're also the one who are going to provide the host, so kinahanglan na pud kay scriptwriter who will make the script of the host as well as the or the MCs. That will follow also with the event agenda. So ang tone sa program magdepend na siya kung formal ba yung event, is it a conference or an educational session, is it a wedding, so dapat romantic siya. Is it a birthday party? Unsay theme sa birthday party? Is it just a simple celebration of a specific event? Kinahanglan bag host or dili? So mo na siya sa program. So we have here examples of event program format from A Guide to Meetings, Conventions, and Events 2015 nga book. So it could be for formal events, it could be a lecture, seminar, debate, interview, discussion, or colloquy. Colloquy mata na. I'll get back to you on the proper pronunciation, sorry. Informal, pwede siyang forum wherein everyone is asked to speak or have a chance to speak. Pwede siya group discussion, fishbowl, buzz session, committee hearings, and learning communities. Then we have participative. nga programs like mag-brainstorm og ideas, a silent meeting, a role play, simulation, technology center, and unconference. So, mo na siya mga different types of programs nga pwede na to i-host in the future. Now, in most programs, there are speakers. What are the things we need to consider when we look for speakers? So, when we select speakers, we would only remember to choose only one keynote speaker. Bali, murag siya pinaka-importante yun yung speaker. Only one. Do not focus on getting big names or dili siya pasikatay. It's more on their relevant experiences or if they can relate to the event objectives or event agenda. Consider speakers who are willing to promote the event also to especially if you're doing a fundraising or a kanang profit goal centered nga event. So if you manage to contact a popular speaker and consider if they are willing also to promote the event to attract more participants. Do not put the process of selecting speakers on the last part of your plan. Dapat it's on the beginning or in the middle part kay in case mo balibad siya na kay laing option. Check the ability also of your speaker to engage the crowd. Basin boring ra kay siya. Dili siya maka-interact and then mabore ang inyong audience. Get suggestions from previous attendees. So if you're organizing a kanang repeated or annual nga mga meetings or conferences, get their suggestions from attendees na ba sila gustong madungog ng mga speaker, na ba sila particular speaker na gusto i-invite. And then give ample allowance between speakers in case there are program delays. So for example, in a seminar wherein there are more than one speaker, so allow a kanang time allowance kay basin og na ay mga speakers nga that cannot come on time, di man na malikayan. So your program is ready for such nga kanang blank space or dead air aron dili ma-board yung kuan you insert mga performers, mga entertainers. So speaking of entertainers, wala na ko siya na-include din but in selecting entertainers, all you have to do is you play the right kind, or you remember to play the right kind of music for the right event. Dili ka mag-play of romantic music if you're doing a formal event. You play that during weddings or engagement parties, and it can help kon magod set the mood um, of your participants. So if it's a formal, maybe mag-classical ka nga music baron or kanang music related to that specific event. If it's a music event, so syempre all types of music. If it's an agricultural event, maybe na yung mga jingle related to the organizers. So yun na inyong i-consider. When choosing also the entertainers, um, pwede siyang you could invite a celebrity but will it overshadow the purpose of the event? I-consider po na ninyo or a popular cultural group and then dili cultural ang theme sa inyong kuan, so that's wrong. So you have to understand your theme, the theme of the event, and make everything related to that event, even your music and your entertainers. So another great factor to consider when designing an event is the food and beverage. So it's as a general rule, food must be safe, delicious, and easy to serve. A senior member of the event management team must be assigned as food and beverage monitor. The monitor will be responsible for preparing a scaled perspective of the banquet layout and color palettes for clients review. So mag-follow po siya sa color scheme or sa motif nga gi-layout or gi-assign sa inyo sa client. So from the color of the table napkin, the color of the seat or chair covers, the table runner, ang skirting cloth nga gigamit. So mo na siya. Securing the approval also of a client of all F&B details sa food, sa drinks, sa menu items nga present, and then submitting menu recommendations based on the event objective. So si food and beverage monitor ang maghimo ana, mag-suggest siya, mag-create siya og at least 3 different menus nga pwede niya i-recommend kay client for approval. assessing the caterer's capabilities and track record. If you're going to contact a caterer or walay F&B department ang hotel nga inyong gibook for the venue and you're going to look for a separate caterer, so assess their capabilities and track record. Do they have good records basin og dili lang ilang food? And then conduct a mock dining setup with plating and food portioning. So in big events, daghan kayong round tables with specific seat plans nanay naka-assign kinsa mo lingkod dinhi nga mga VIP mga ingon ana. You conduct a mock dining setup, mag-practice mo sa imuhang food and beverage team aron to avoid spillage or mga palpak nga mga actions on the actual event, especially if there are so many VIPs attending. And then making sure that the centerpieces complement the room and the table layout. So, dapat mag-complement siya. Are the colors contrasting or kanang lain ba siya tanawon? Ano na. You also have to make sure that the scale and proportion of the design elements as approved are implemented by the design contractor and coordinate with the program team to synchronize the food service during the event. Like for example, ipa-serve nila ang food while naapay nag-perform or na the program is ongoing. So, dapat kabalo mo unsa nga time or aha nga part sa program mo mosulod as the FNB team. Some MICE events offer special menu options as one of the wow factors. So, consider ninyo as one of your wow factors in future events that you're going to organize. Like, you have a vegan or vegetarian menu wherein there is no meat served for your vegan nga mga participants, or ovo-lacto, meatless but with eggs and dairy. Pescatarian wherein fish only lang ang kanon, so mag-offer pud mo sa ilaha nga mga menu options. Halal, like certified meals prepared by the halal way for Muslims. Kay there are conferences or conventions nga daghang Muslims ang mo attend. So you offer a halal menu. Kosher for those Jewish people. And then katong allergen-free nga menu, gluten-free and organic menus kay people are now becoming very sensitive on their food intake. So nanatay mga ingon ani and most probably madagangan pa ni siya nga mga meal options. The common service styles used in MICE events, it could be butler, plated, buffet, food stations, or concessions. So, sa butler, katuning sa fine dining, plated kanang na-arrange na daan tanan ang food. Buffet wherein magpila sila sa buffet table. Food stations more like same sa buffet pero there are many food options like maghimo mo food station for the vegetarian people nga na ditoy options nga meatless jud o volacto. And then we also have for magbutang ba mong station for pescatarian, halal, kosher, kaning mga meal options simuan nyo tanang food stations, and then concessions wherein you contact other providers to make their concession stands and produce food for the event. Pwedeng yun nana. Then also you have to take note of the common dietary concerns like allergies sa seafood, sa chicken, ug uban pa, eggs, bakaron. Then we also have the celiac disease, lactose intolerant, vegetarian, the religious requirements of the attendees, as well as for those nga mga nanay mga dietary problems wherein they need to have low salt, low fat, low calories nga diet. So muna siya if you're going to be assigned in the FNB department or as FNB monitor for a specific event, so muna siya the things that are very important to remember. Also, we need to follow certain protocols and ceremonies in organizing pananglitan. You're asked to organize the inauguration of the next president of the Philippines. So natay mga protocol nga i-follow, natay mga traditional ceremonies or programs nga dapat i-follow. So muna siya i-take note. So these are the code of conduct and the forms of ceremony and etiquette observed by diplomats and others in society. Most commonly kanang sa mga government nga mga heads of state, mga government programs, or if you're lucky to work in Europe and then you become a part of an event organizing for the royal family, then you're going to follow their protocols and ceremonies pod nana. For logistics, these are the kuani siya kanang when hiring contractors, ang pag-abot sa mga items nga imong gi-contract sa ilahang mga gipangdad-on, like when you're hiring a technical contractor, yung pag-abot sa sound system, sa lights, mga inana. So these are the logistical requirements nga kinahanglan natong i-take note, like forwarding and freight. These are the importation of exhibit goods and equipment requires sufficient lead time for coordination with importer and supplier. For example, ang inyong client is an artist na siya mga artworks nga i-exhibit, so and it would be traveled from her studio to the venue. So unsaon na ninyo kinsa inyohang mga magharba mo og tracking services, delivery services, moving services aron ma-move to iyang mga artworks dito sa venue. Permits and licenses, these are needed to ship items into the country and the locale of the MICE event. So, og ang exhibit nga mga products gikan sa other country into our country. So, we need to um, get permits and licenses aron makasulod to sila nga mga product. So, experienced forwarders can facilitate the securing of these documents and relieve the exhibitor of unnecessary expenses. So, pwede siya nga, ang inyong gi-contact nga kaning forwarders or kanang movers is nana sila experience magkuha ani, so dili ra kay ka mabalaka. And then finally, display and exhibit structures. Special structures may be required to showcase products that an experienced contractor can handle and make adjustments as needed. So, if the arts or the products nga imong i-exhibit needs specific structures or kanang kinahanglan og mga special mounts or special nga mga tables, so appeal na siya dinhi sa logistics nga wherein you find contractors who will make those structures aron inig abot sa area mag-assemble na lang mo. You also need to arrange the travel of your participants. So you have to consider the following for their transport needs, like routing, naabay pick up and drop off sa airports, or naabay magpa-pick up ng mga speakers sa ilang hotel nga gistayhan, driving directions for drivers sa mga VIP kaya basin they're from America, and then ang venue ninyo is in Manila, dayon dili sila kadumdum og ahang hotel, so you have to give directions to the drivers. Arrival of special guests, like for example sa airport, so you need to make sign holders, and then or arrival sa hotel, so naay mga signs directing them aha mo adto aha nga room or aha nga function hall mahitabo ang event. For people who will be for people with disabilities, so naatay mga wheelchair accessible vehicles pa karon, naatay mga ramps for them to be able to enter the function room. And then airport pickups and departures, locations sa specific airport, we provide signages, the contact person kung nakagikan na ba ni siya, kinsay kontakon niya, inigabot niya. You take note of delayed flights and canceled flights and exchange of mobile numbers between drivers and guests. So, muna siya dapat ni may remember. Departure notices also, like imong participants mostly will depart from the venue. So, take note of their travel time para di sila malate sa airport. Pick up at the hotel or facility, like they're staying at a different hotel, so provide mo og pick up services kay pick upon sila dadon sila sa venue. Road construction and detours kay basin og naay gipanday nga mga dalan dili sila kaagi didto, so you make alternative routes for them to arrive to the event area or the event venue. Parking permits kay naay mga hotels nga nagkinahanglan parking permits dili makapark diretso, so you secure that beforehand or you inform the hotel security team nga mo ni siya ang number of cars nga among gi-expect, mo ni sila nga mga model ana. Vehicle parking, proximity of parking area to the event. If ever walay parking area yung event function hall or event venue, so mag-recommend mo danog sila pwede mo park silang mga car, as well as the distance from the staging area to the actual pickup spot. Take note also of their phone or mobile numbers, the weather, If the weather is tanaw mo as the date of the event is coming or nearing, tanaw mo magbagyo, so you need to have budgets for umbrellas or plastic jackets in case nga magulan during the event or the arrival of your participants. Drinks and snacks on transport, ipanangitan layo ang airport sa inyohang venue, and then gisundo ninyo sila dito sa airport or sa pier, baka ron sa port lang kay magbarko sila. Provide drinks and snacks while they are in transit padulong sa venue. Bus signage aron di sila mawala, especially if you're organizing a tour. And then pari-pari og dagway inyong mga bus, and then lahi-lahi day nga grupo ang mosakay atong nga bus, so provide bus signage as well as a timeline nga i-follow nila for transportation. And then finally we have staffing. So, in staffing your event organizing team, senior team members of a professional event company are assigned to coordinate with the following. So, you coordinate with your client number one for the organizer of the event or kanang nag-contact sa inyo hanga mo lead sa pag-organize anang event. You also need to coordinate with the people from the venue as well as their security. You need to have a finance team or finance manager. Coordinate with your caterers and F&B suppliers, contractors, kung nag-hire mo contractors for production and staging, and coordinate also with your VIP guests, like inyong keynote speaker, guest of honors, or nabay mga special performers. Dapat namoy contact kanunay sa ilaha. Registration and guest relations, dapat na mo ani nga committee. And then PR, promotions and sponsors for your marketing as well as contractor for your logistics. Kinahanglan og heavy equipment, pag-travel sa mga i-exhibit nga products. So, mo na siya pinaka-importante nga mga uh, things to remember when creating an event design. So, it's really designing an event is really complicated. It takes a lot of time and effort as well as creativity. But you, if this is where you really find yourself nga kanang in the future, or you really want to, you're very inclined in organizing an event. So these are the very important things that you need to remember if you're going to be working as an event organizer, or if you're planning to build your own events company. So that's it for lesson 3. If there are questions, feel free to ask me sa GC or sa PM lang if there are questions, and activities will be posted in the G Classroom. So thank you so much for your time in viewing this video. That's all. Keep safe.